Hey there, fight fans. Welcome to the SB Nation MMA post-fight show for UFC on ESPN Plus 11 or UFC Stockholm, which featured a light heavyweight bout between Aleksandar the Mauler Gustafsson versus Anthony Lionheart Smith. This video is brought to you by BloodyElbow.com and MMAmania.com, the only two websites in the entire World Wide Web you'll ever need to go to find out what's happening in the mixed martial arts world. My name's Flying Brian J, and joining me as usual are the guys from the 6th-round post-fight show, Mr. Positivity, Eddie Mercado, and Major Zane Simon. We talk about this all the time, how cards, they kind of suck for a while, and then all of a sudden the main event makes up for it. I think that was kind of going on here, but also my expectations were way down here because this was a UFC Euro event. Most of it was a local event, and it was happening in the middle of the afternoon. Zane, what are your major takeaways from this fight card?
I mean, honestly, I don't know that there was, like, a really bad fight on this card. I can't think of one where I'm just like, oh, that fight sucked. Thank God that was over. Like, I guess maybe Teymur Sung Bin, but even that, like, the first round was pretty fun. So, it's in the morning. It's not very meaningful, but they don't have to be if it's in the morning. If you're giving me a streaming card in the morning, my day is already almost over. It's only 1 in the afternoon. So, it was great. Like, the Smith-Gustafsson was a great fight, honestly. Like, Smith came out looking to take Gustafsson out and put it on him early. Gustafsson was out there looking to coast and, like, make it, build the fight up in layers as it went on, and he just fucked up. And that's a great, awesome win for Smith. And you couple that with Aleksandar Rakic's huge KO and Amirkhani getting a cool sub, and I can't hate it.
Yeah, the card turned out really well, and of course, because Anthony Smith is from my area of the world, I really like it. I'm a homer for him, so that's pretty awesome. It is kind of sad that he had to win in Aleksandar Gustafsson's retirement fight, but what are you going to do?
Well, there's always a question of would it have been his retirement fight if Gus had won it,
Yeah, and as we've seen from Uriah Faber, retirement fights don't mean shit. I mean, they gave Uriah Faber a special fight in Brad Pickett because it was his last one, and he's like, you know what, I'm coming back to fight. Anyway, that's a topic for another day. Mr. Positivity, give us some glory on this fight card.
So yeah, low on relevancy, which we all knew. So going through it, it's like we got cool finishes, but it's like, well, none of them really matter. So it's almost like a empty kind of feeling going through the card because like it doesn't even it doesn't matter. Like there's no repercussions for any of these fights until you get to the very top. And like the main event, the co-main event, those are extremely relevant. You got Anthony Smith, who just solidified himself as one of the elites at 205 pounds in the world. Like he's not just some 205er who's like capitalizing on his athleticism and willingness to throw and toughness to get him through fights. Like he's actually severely skilled, and I've been saying this for a long time, but his ground game is severely underrated. Like he's pulling out these subs and he's doing it late in fights. Like he's not getting lucky. Like he is legit just elite. He's an elite fighter with a deceptive record, and he is like I don't think I've ever seen a journeyman rise to the ranks of title contender at such a high level like Anthony Smith has. Like talk about someone who's just paid their dues, and like his getting to the title was not a fluke. Like it wasn't just good timing. Like he's just one of the best in the world. Like it is what it is.
This was his 46th fight, and it's his second stint in the UFC back in 2013. I think he got a short notice, one fight contract that he lost, won a whole bunch of fights in the regional scene, and then comes into the UFC. Now he's 4-1 with that. He's 4-1 since coming to light heavyweight, with that only loss coming to one of, if not the greatest fighters of all time. Very impressive stuff for this guy. He's only 30 years old and has 46 fights, and doesn't seem like he's fragile. You'd expect somebody who's had that many bouts to start showing some wear and tear, but that's not happening to him. Eddie, this fight was between two former title challengers, guys who have already lost to Johnny Bones Jones. I don't think we need to see a rematch with John Jones and Anthony Smith anytime soon. So what do you think is next for a guy like Anthony Smith in the position that he's in?
That's hard to say. Maybe John Jones would give him a rematch. I mean, it's not like we got Daniel Cormier coming back anytime soon, so he's kind of just a placeholder. And it's not like Rumble's coming back anytime soon. Like
Not that
Rakić,
Rumble
like
can
I don't
even
fight.
make light heavyweight anymore.
Oh, I know. Like you can cut Rumble in half, and half of him wouldn't even. And he's got his own issues going on outside of fighting altogether.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Lest we forget, other than him being a bodybuilder and 300 pounds now, he's also still back in court.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm okay if they give him the Rakić fight. Like that's a very interesting fight between two long strikers. I think that's awesome. I think Rakić really proved himself tonight, and it's that kind of division where it doesn't matter if you're unranked. Like you can easily just come in and make a run like that. It doesn't really take much. It takes a lot to actually get the belt. Yes, but getting to it's probably the path of least resistance in all the divisions. So I think Rakić is the fight to make. Why not? Or like a Johnny Walker, like let's bring those in.
Well, I think there's one fight that's pretty clearly looming on the horizon.
Luke Rockhold,
and that's the winner of Jan Blachowicz versus Luke Rockhold. Like if Luke Rockhold wins that fight, you gotta book it, especially coming off this win for Smith. If he can get a chance to like rub Luke's face in the dirt, nobody is gonna hate that across the MMA world.
Oh yeah, I mean, for some reason, people love to see Rockhold like get his comeuppance.
Well, he's on Millionaire Matchmaker, so he's a super rich, super good-looking guy who is super smug and sure of himself all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're not gonna enjoy watching him get his comeuppance, who are you gonna enjoy?
But it's not even that. It's like I've never seen someone so sure of themselves yet unsure of themselves at the same time. It's like it's weird. It's like I've never seen such a swagless person with swag before. Like it's weird. It's an enigma.
Zane, so Eddie's really impressed with Aleksandar Rakic's performance against Jimi Manuwa, but
what's not to be impressed about?
Well, Jimi Manuwa's now on a 4-fight losing streak. He's lost a lot of durability. I mean, it was an incredible knockout. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah. Highlight reel is going to be on his reel for a really long time. But is it really that impressive to have knocked out a guy that his chin is completely gone and is on a 4-fight losing streak?
Well, I mean, when you say his chin isn't completely gone, he's been knocked out a few times, but like, let's not pretend that he didn't just go through a hellacious war with Thiago Santos. We saw them go back and forth several times. Manuwa, he's always had some defensive stiffness to him. He's getting caught. He's getting older, but this is still the worst loss on Manuwa's record, and it's far and away the best win for Rakić. Like, I don't think there's any reason to downplay it yet. Manuwa may have been knocked out a few times, but he hasn't been getting to the like Rashad Evans stage where it's just like every time he gets touched, you're like, oh no, his legs are gone, this is over. Manuwa is, he still fights the way he fights. He just is hurtable, very hurtable.
And it's the division also.
Yeah.
It's like it's heavyweight light, literally.
Yeah.
Like everyone packs a wallop for the most part. And especially when you get to the top of the division, like everyone is so explosive there. Yep. And like if you look who he's losing to, I mean, these are not chumps. Like he loses to the best of the best. Yeah. So it's hard to be like, well, is he done? Is he not done?
Yeah. It's not like Rashad Evans getting like out hustled by Dan Kelly, where you're like, okay, shit, the wheels are off this train. And then like, I think was it after that Evans went and fought Anthony Smith back at light heavyweight, and like that's when you know that it's not. Like, there's nothing going on there anymore. There's,
I think what it is like, can we get this guy an easy fight? Like, he gets 0 easy fights, and I understand he's been around forever, and when you're high ranked, that's what it is. But like, there's some elite guys. Like Uriah Faber's always known for getting like a number 15 guy, and like, there's some guys who tend to get like these weird softballs, and he is not that guy. Like, he never gets an easy fight.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing with light heavyweight, though, is that not to say there aren't easy fights out there. They could stick him in there with, I mean, John Vellante or, some of the other dudes Patrick Cummins, who've been win, loss. But it is a division that, to even fight there at all, you have to be super athletic and super powerful. And so, like, it's not Rakić was barely ranked. He was, I think he was outside the top. He might have been unranked.
He was unranked, yeah, for sure.
So there's a lot of people out there that can check your chin if your chin is going to get checked. So,
and there's a lot of like really good talent on the come up.
Yeah.
What's crazy about light heavyweight right now is there's a whole bunch of dudes that are 6'4 plus, very physically imposing looking specimens that are, you got the Dominic Reyes, Aleksandar Rakić, Johnny Walker. It's kind of the new mold, and it's going to be a really fun in the next couple of years with those guys on the come up.
Oh yeah, it's the hyper athletic division. You have to be a super athlete to fight at light heavyweight. At heavyweight, you have to be the toughest guy in the world. That's just it. You can't be you can't have Jimi Manuwa's chin or Patrick Cummins' chin and fight 15 fights at heavyweight. That just won't happen. But light heavyweight, you have to be super athletic, which is why you see these heavyweights cutting down. They're like, oh, I can take all the shots. I'll drop to light heavyweight, and then they're the slowest dude in the world and just get worked by anybody.
Yep, unless your name is Daniel freaking Cormier.
Yeah, unless you're Daniel Cormier, unless you're an Olympic-level athlete,
Right. Eddie, there were a lot of moments on this card that are worthy of a shining star or even a WTF if it's like a positive WTF. Do you got something ready that really stood out to you tonight beyond the main event and co-main event?
Beyond the main and co-main? Oh, man, that co-main was really...
Yeah.
That the way it reminded me of when Josh Saman knocked out Eddie Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the same sort of just gorgeous float into the kick. Like that's some pretty shit. Like that's pretty shit. But I'll go down. I thought Amirkhani's entry to that first takedown he hit was just fucking beautiful. That's one of the best entries I can remember ever seeing in MMA, if not like the best. Like that shit was so well timed and just it was beautiful. And I'm never talking about like a regular double leg takedown like this either.
No.
So it was special if I'm even commenting on it. So I'll go there.
Well, what's cool about that is he set that takedown up like weeks ago.
It's true.
With all the shit he was talking, that's what, and he even said it in the post-fight interview. They were like, "Was there a lot of animosity?" He's like, "No, that's just the fight game. I don't really take it that seriously.
Yeah.
It's part of the game plan."
I thought you meant with just how long it took him to get into the fight, because he legit just didn't do shit for like the first 3 minutes.
Oh yeah, no, there's that too.
All right, now I'll go for my takedown.
I mean that he wanted his opponent to come at him aggressively, and then I'm just gonna drop under, bam, and it's beautiful work of the mental warfare on top of the physical attributes of the sport.
I have to take it back. I'm sorry to Amirkhani. I'm taking it back. Leonardo Santos returning with a walk-off knockout. Yes.
I let you slide on it because I was like, I guess, but I was waiting to jump in and be like, that Leonardo Santos knockout,
it was cool for many reasons.
Yeah, I think MMA Junkie's Ben Folk said it best, that he had he had Stevie Ray frozen in carbonite on that punch, just like.
He was Han Solo'd, yeah.
Well, and it's really cool because it's the same counter right that he knocked out Kevin Lee with 960 some days ago or whatever.
Yep, Santos is a slick counter puncher, and people forget it because he's such a high level jiu-jitsu practitioner, and they don't think about it. But the dude is a natural counter puncher.
And he pulled a BJ Penn, got the knockout, and just bounced. He's like, I'm going backstage. Fuck you. I got shit to do.
I almost thought it would have been cooler if he'd have just stayed backstage and not came back for the post-fight interview. Just you haven't seen me in 3 years, one punch knockout, and I'm gone. Just see you later. I call it a Houdini.
That would have been so boss, yeah.
But instead he came back.
The Sting move, right?
He'll get fined for it, I'm sure.
Probably.
Oh well, he can pay for it with part of his post-fight bonus. So he's getting one of those. Zane, is that your WTF or shining star of the card?
Well, I mean, it's hard. I can't really knock Rakić or Santos out of being a shining star of the card, but I'm otherwise. I got to give all my love to Frank Camacho. He put on a hell of a fight. I love watching that dude fight. I love the way he fights, so I'm always super happy to see him win like that. That was really awesome. There was nothing on this card I would really say was a what the fuck even at all. It was just everything kind of went. They were fights, People fought.
People won,
only
people
surprise
lost,
was
people got choked out, people got knocked out.
Yep. The only surprise was Gus retiring. That was like the thing that caught everybody off guard.
It was kind of weird that they let Rostem Akman fight with a sweater on.
That's true. Yeah. No.
That's kind of strange. That's a WTF worthy moment.
But if it were 10 years ago, they'd let him go get that Build-A-Bear sponsor.
Okay. Anyway, I can let you guys go and you can get the 6th round on if you want.
All right. Thank you. You can find me on Twitter at TheZaneSime. You can find Eddie on Twitter at TheEddieMercado. You can find both of us over at BloodyElbow.com. Give us a like and keep watching Brian's show here. All that good stuff. Stay tuned to SB Nation MMA. Stay tuned to Bloody Elbow Presents. We're going to jump over to the 6th round post-fight show. So thanks for having us on. And Brian, enjoy talking about the rest of the fights.
Thanks for being here, guys. Take it easy. Eddie, Mr. Positivity's positive minute.
Yes.
Hit me with it. Something we haven't mentioned maybe already that was just really positive that comes out of this card. And before you go, like I started this day like not even really wanting to watch this fight card because it just there's no relevance to it. Like you said, there's no we have the fights and there's no consequences. But I left feeling rather happy.
Yeah, definitely pleasant. It was we got a bunch of cool finishes, and it ended really strongly with 3 really just highlight reel finishes, 2 submissions and a knockout. So super cool. But I'm going to use this minute to give a shout out to my home city of Virginia Beach. We're going through a little bit of a tragedy here. Yesterday, we had somebody go postal at one of the city municipal centers, killing 12 people. Ended up getting in a shootout with the cops. Cops ended up taking his life. So just thoughts, prayers, good vibes, whatever you do, send it this way. The city needs it. And this isn't a gun control issue. This is a mental health issue. So I feel like we should definitely talk about mental health as much as we talk about physical or nutritional health, and just make sure that we tell everybody that we love them while we can. So that's my positive minute for the day.
Yeah, let's all send some positivity over to Virginia Beach. I don't really do thoughts and prayers, but like a lot of my family does, so I will have them send them your way. Thanks for sticking around.
I know you do good vibes.
I do good vibes. I do positive mojo. I will send. I'll think about it. You know. Thanks a lot for that, Eddie.
Much appreciated. But yeah, this card was cool. Not to end on a sour, sad note. Life is beautiful. Life goes on, and this card. It was good.
Pretty damn good. I'm super surprised by how good it was. I like it when the UFC. What do you think of
Gus retiring though? Are you happy about it? You glad to see it?
Well, he's not going out on top, but I think whenever a fighter even has the thought of leaving the gloves in the cage, that they need to leave the gloves in the cage. This isn't a maybe I should be in there type of sport. This is well, like Joe Rogan says, this is high level problem solving with dire consequences. And if you're not fully in it, you need to leave. So I'm glad for him, and he had a great career. What do you think was his like shining star moment of his entire career? Was it like the really tight fight he had with John Jones long ago?
I would say that, as well as his very close fight with Daniel Cormier. That was also very close. Both just awesome wars that I just enjoyed very much for different reasons. But yeah, I mean, he had a really good career. He's finished a lot of guys. Like knocking out Manuwa was fucking awesome. Knocking out Teixeira was awesome. I think he'll just always be. I think the biggest thing would be he was the first guy to really challenge John Jones, and he's the guy that taught us that John Jones actually does have the heart of a champion. So for that, Gus, we thank you.
Well, and that John Jones is human, because it's funny that fight John walked to the octagon with a shirt that said like what, more than human or superhuman or something, and then like, that was you kind of jinxed yourself there, Johnny.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool stuff.
Well, good to Gustafsson. He had a pretty long career, so I hope he made a bunch of money and he can retire happy.
Oh man, sorry, I need to let you go, but I was thinking about this. Like, so Gustafsson has fought at like the highest level for a while in the UFC, but he only has like 25 fights. Anthony Smith has 46 fights, but most of them weren't happening at the highest level. Like, who do you think made more money?
Oh, probably Gus for sure.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
This fucking sport, man.
Yeah. It's
Anyway,
clown shoes, the most clown shoes sports in existence. I'm stealing that from Mr. Vic Rodriguez.
well, and it's sports entertainment. I don't like the argument. Is it sport? Is it sports entertainment? Call it whatever you want. I like watching it.
Oh yeah, it's entertainment.
Thanks a lot for being here, Eddie. You can follow Eddie on Twitter at the Eddie Mercado. He's always posting positive stuff. He's a great dude to follow on social media. Thanks a lot for being here, Eddie.
Thank you, sir. I'll see you next week.
Yep, sounds good. UFC 238, if I'm right.
Yes, sir.
Main event, Cejudo.
It's UFC, one of the pay-per-views. It's a pay-per-view event. I don't know the number.
Yeah, whatever.
You probably know better than I do.
Yeah, we'll see you for that. Thanks, Eddie.
All right, man. Take care.
See you later. Okay, fight fans, thank you for sticking around to the end of the show, or at least this portion in the show. Like always, I'm Flying Brian J, and for the rest of it, we're going to recap UFC on ESPN Plus 11 with you guys, the live chat commenters, as my co-host. We've got Jackson Rounds here, Rob Amon. Rob's got his butcher block ready. He cuts fighters that aren't doing well in the UFC lately and might need to go back to Bellator, to LFA, maybe hang the gloves up or whatever. Toddle's here. Ice Look, paid programming. Appreciate you all for being here. Oh, Priam. Okay, Priam's got the first question. What do you think of the Spark KO by Santos and whether he can use this momentum to make a run in the stacked lightweight division, unlike last time when he disappeared? I'm kind of gonna answer your question with my own thoughts on him. After knocking out Stevie Ray with a pull away right and sleeping him ice cold, he ran to the locker room, came back, said he wants a top 10 opponent. And I was thinking about this. So before he left a long time ago, he knocked out Kevin Lee, defeated Adriano Martins via decision, hasn't lost a fight in 10 years, is on a really long win streak, and it just feels like a weird bit of matchmaking to give him a way step down in competition from somebody like Adriano Martins at the time and Kevin Lee to fight Stevie Ray. Like, looking at the odds and then looking in the rearview mirror at this fight alone, like, why did we even make this happen? Clearly, he's a top 10 guy. He's showing that he's got a lot of pop in his hands. We haven't seen his jiu-jitsu for a while, and we know that he's a very high-level jiu-jitsu player. I want to see him fight somebody in the top 10. Will it carry him into the top 5 against somebody like Donald Cerrone? Oops, excuse me. Sorry for cursing. I'm trying to reel that in. Donald Cerrone and the likes, the Pettises of the world. I don't think so, but by golly, every time that guy's name is on a fight card, I'm going to be tuned in and ready to watch him fight. What an amazing performance that was. And to not follow up at all, that shows some class. He hasn't lost a fight since he lost a split decision in May of 2009. He's never lost in the UFC. Arm triangle choke, draw, decision, rear naked choke, TKO, decision, KO. Very impressive. The top of the rankings, we can pull them up too. Before I pull up the rankings, June has us with this information is going to be at the post-fight press conference, I believe, but let's disperse it right now as well. The attendance, it was a sold-out arena, 14,319 tickets sold for a gate of $2 million. We have the official post-fight bonuses, but I don't think we should give them out yet because I want to know what your post-fight bonuses are. So my question to you guys... Oh, yeah, Jackson Rounds asked me this question earlier, and I said to ask me it later. Thanks for being patient with me, Jackson. And then we'll get to the butcher block from Rob. So we're going to do Jackson's question, the butcher block from Rob, and then we'll get into our post-fight bonuses. So start thinking about your post-fight bonuses right now. Jackson asks, can you touch on the commentating trio tonight? I think Hardy and Gooden mix well, and Felder is getting better with every event. What do you think? And who are some of your favorite color and play-by-play commentators? My favorite is Daniel Cormier because I'm a curmudgeon. I have a lot of negativity in my heart, and I don't know why, but Daniel Cormier has that positivity. He's always jovial, kind of laughing, and he's got a tasteful zest for life, and I love Daniel Cormier. He's super knowledgeable, but he also is so positive. I like him a lot. I also like Paul Felder. I've met Paul. He's a very nice guy, humble. He's a good fighter. He's understanding of what's happening in the octagon. He's well spoken. About my second favorite's Joe Rogan, just because of his classic. You know, he's always there. And my favorite trio is Anik, Rogan, and Cormier, because Anik and Rogan, or Cormier and Rogan, will get on little tangents and they talk about stuff, and then Anik's kind of there to reel them in. The trio tonight with Gooden, Hardy, and Felder, I think it's a little clunky. They don't have a lot of experience together. I think this was the second time they've been together, and they don't have that good repertoire or chemistry with each other. Repertoire, I don't think that word fits, but it sounded nice. They don't have the chemistry. They don't gel that well. Sometimes Paul will talk over John, or John will talk over Paul, and so on and so forth. But I like this commentating trio better than I did like Gooden and Hardy. Gooden and Hardy had a tendency to just kind of fall in their own groove and talk more about the European fighters because they know them, they're around them all the time, being, you know, from Europe, from the area. Dan might train with some of them, so he knows them personally. So when they're fighting somebody not from the area, it feels like they're being a little bit biased. They're not being biased, but it just sounds like they're talking more about that person. We add Paul Felder into the mix, and I think that he grounds them in that sense, and also he brings an American accent to the table, which evens things out for me. And so putting them together on these European cards, I think that's the best decision they've ever made in terms of the European cards commentating booth. This is a really good booth. I like it for the European cards, but I'd still choose Cormier, Rogan, and Anik over this group. And now let's go with Rob Amon's chopping block before we get into the post-fight bonuses. I see that Otto is already here with his post-fight bonuses. So tell me, guys, who you would give your post-fight bonuses to. Rob, where's your chopping block? I think it's here. Rob's butcher block this time. Nick Hine and Jimi, the poster boy Manuwa. We already talked about Manuwa losing. We didn't talk about what fashion he lost in. So him and Rakić came out right away, and they were doing a lot of feinting with their shoulders, feinting with their legs and stuff. I think there were some low kicks exchanged, yada yada. But Rakić came in with a right uppercut to kind of a jab, but I believe he's just throwing the jab out to do the left high kick. And shin to chin and sleeping on the canvas was Jimi Manuwa. It was gorgeous. It was a fantastic knockout, highlight reel for Here to Eternity for Aleksandar Rakić. But as I was trying to get out of Zane, I think that Jimi Manuwa's chin is done. I mean, it was a huge knockout, but he's 39, almost 40. His left hook isn't as fast as it used to be. He's been knocked out a lot of times. He's got 4 losses in a row. And if he's not cut from the UFC's roster and we're sending him to somewhere like Ryzen or One Championship, Bellator, whatever, dude needs to retire. Next one, Nick Hine. He lost to Frank Camacho in a fantastic performance from Frank Camacho. Between rounds 1 and 2, Camacho's corner told him, do not brawl. Do not go out there and brawl. And I'm thinking, what the hell, guys? That's what Frank Camacho is. That's why we love watching him fight. He goes out there, throws his inhibitions to the wind, gets a little crazy out there. But he stayed the course. He invested in a lot of body shots. Left kick to the body, hammered it home a few times on Nick Hine. Ripping left hooks to the liver on Hine over and over and over again. And then he just went with a barrage of punches after he had hurt Nick Hine to the body. Hook the John Lineker combination, 3-2s over and over, or double hook combinations. Anyway, and got him out of there in the second round. Great performance from Frank Camacho, but now Nick Hine is on a 3-fight losing streak. He got rear naked choked by Davi Hamish, lost the decision to Damir Hadžović, and got TKO'd by Frank Camacho. So 3 losses in a row ordinarily will get you sent out of the UFC. It sends you packing. But beyond that, he's not an exciting fighter. The last time Nick Hine finished a fight was at Respect Fighting Championships in September of 2013. So you don't like Elias Theodoro's fighting style because he does decisions and fights kind of strange? Well, by golly, Nick Hine is not a fun fighter either, and he's lost 3 in a row. Yes, I agree, Rob, those two guys. It sucks because we're saying that I don't believe they deserve to do their job at the highest level anymore, but those are my opinions. I watch fights. I give opinions. That's what I do. I'm sorry that it might, if I said it to them, they might be mad at me and beat me up. But those are my opinions, and I'm sticking with them. Paid programming says Cruz is his favorite commentator. Marcus McGahee agrees with Otto's post-fight bonuses. Priyam Alemian says, okay, so we're getting into our post-fight bonuses now. Good, we timed this right. Priyam's post-fight bonuses go to Leonardo Santos, Aleksandar Rakić, Anthony Lionheart Smith, and fight of the night goes to Giagos versus Hadžović. And you notice that he gave out $250,000 because on this show where we're not actually giving anybody any money at all. So why not give out 5 per 10 bonuses? So he gave out those 5. And Otto says he'd go with the same as the official bonuses, but if I could give one extra, it'd go to Frank Camacho. He did a great job digging at the body the entire fight, and when he felt Hein was done, he hammered him. Great analysis, Otto. Fantastic. I agree. My post-fight bonuses. Yeah, 5. Well, these Smith, Rakić, Amirkhani, Santos, Camacho. Bam. I agree. And the official ones were Smith, Rakić, Amirkhani, and Santos. So yeah, just I think we can all agree the extra one would go to Frank Camacho. Gorgeous performance. Jackson Rounds. Oh, Mario Yamasaki does not agree that Amirkhani should get a post-fight bonus or performance bonus. Why not? And before you answer, I'm going to explain why I think he does. Like I mentioned when Eddie and Zane were here, he started that gorgeous takedown that he hit in the first round a long time ago by talking some shit to Fishgold. He got Fishgold off of his game, so that's where his performance started. That's amazing. He used his mind to his advantage. And then the way he hit a takedown attempt, Fishgold tried for a guillotine. He got out of it. Fishgold tried for a Darce choke or maybe an Anaconda. I can't really tell. But Fishgold did not have an arm in, so Amirkhani easily got out. Was in half guard. Goes for his own guillotine. Fishgold gets out of it. Locks on the Anaconda choke. And then it was really fun to watch them twirl around. So to lock it in, he really needs to get closer to Fishgold and hook his leg so he can tighten up the Anaconda choke. But Fishgold was running away from him in a circle. And that was really fun to watch. Fun finish. I liked watching it. Somebody who gets a finish in a fight that I loved watching, I would give a post-fight bonus. Luke says he probably wouldn't give Anthony Smith a bonus. Well, why not? Yeah, nobody finishes Gus, John Jones. He got a finish in the main event of the evening against the guy who's the perennial number 2 guy in the world. Oh yeah, and Rumble Johnson. Well, anyway, those are my bonuses. Jackson says, "Do you think Amirkhani deserves a top 15 guy yet? Personally, I think he needs one more unranked upper echelon opponent, maybe a striking specialist to show his improvements." It feels to me like Amirkhani is going to stay as being a regional guy. Not regional MMA, but a European MMA fighter. Sure, he can be the champion of the European circuit of the UFC, but I don't know. I would like him to have a step up in competition. Fishgold, obviously he finished him, but yeah, I would like Amirkhani to have a step up in competition. Somebody with striking and takedown defense so we can test him there. I think that's a really good idea. Who could it be? Off the top of my head, I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Amirkhani versus Elkins would be entertaining, says Rob Amon. Well, yeah, that sounds pretty nice. Uncle Hank. Priam says, I didn't find Amirkhani really competent in the striking at all. His ground game is obviously great, but his striking looks extremely exploitable by top-level fighters. Does he climb to the top 5 ever? Let's pull up the rankings. Does he, no, top 5 featherweight? No, I don't think so. I mean, I know that I think Alexander Volkanovski's really fucking good, but I'm sorry for cursing. Do you think that Makwan Amirkhani defeats someone like Jeremy Stevens, Zabit Magomed Sharipov? No. Ricardo Lamas? Oh, Shane Burgos or Calvin Kattar. Next for Makwan Amirkhani. What do you think about... Oh, damn. Jackson already said it. Otto said, the two guys I said. Otto said Calvin Kattar versus Amirkhani. Jackson Round says Burgos. I like those two options. Elkins, while he's not a big name in terms of all of mixed martial arts, for the hardcore fans, Elkins is a name, and I don't think we're going to give him to Makwan Amirkhani at this point yet. But yeah, I could see Calvin Kattar, Shane Burgos. Yeah, Priam agrees. Shane Burgos versus Makwan Amirkhani. Book it. Let's call Sean Shelby or whoever we need to talk to right now. Is there anything else we need to talk about on this card? Lina Lansberg defeating Tonya Evinger in Tonya Evinger fashion. Takedowns, reversals of takedowns, and a lot of ground and pound. Very impressive by Lina Lansberg, but also at the same time, was it that impressive? Tonya looked awful. Her body looked like she hasn't been exercising lately at all. I know she's never looked super svelte or fit, but she looked bad. And she only landed like 6 significant strikes. And she couldn't even like implement her own game style on Lina Lansberg. So I think also, Rob, I think we cut Tonya Evinger. I think she should be on the chopping block. She's got 3 losses in a row. Granted, it's Aspen Ladd, Chris Cyborg, and now Lina Lansberg. But I think she can go back to Invicta and do work there again. Somebody mentioned something about Darko Stojic and how he's supposed to be a prodigy of Mirko Krokop but doesn't throw kicks. Priam Alemian says, is it time for Evinger to hang up the gloves? She looks shop-worn to me. She honestly shown way more talent than this in her career. Yeah, she definitely has shown more than this. I honestly don't think she looked like she was trying hard to prepare for this fight. I don't know. She did not look good tonight. Yeah, I say send her back to Invicta. She's from Kansas City area. She can fight, like in her hometown. But I don't think it's necessary that we see her in the UFC again. Elkins is fighting. BJ Penn has lost to a lot of guys lately, Kyle. Mungari. Darren Elkins. Well, let's look it up. Looking it up. Darren Elkins is set to fight. The UFC's website really sucks, so I don't really know. Anywho, I don't think there's much else that we need to cover tonight. We got it. Christos Giagos out-wrestled Damir Hadžović, was also landing some rear hand uppercuts from really far away. What Giagos was doing is kind of like what the Team Alpha Male guys do. Overhand right to takedown attempt and then maybe a guillotine choke. He was going uppercut to... Giagos was going uppercut to takedown attempts, and it was really impressive. Priam wants to know, who do I want Giagos to fight next? The guy seems to have an issue with cardio, but he looked damn fun tonight. He looked really good tonight. He has had a cardio issue. That's one reason I picked Damir Hadžović. What's next for him? Yeah, a fringe top 15 guy. I saw Andre Fili mentioned earlier. Andre Fili might not be a bad call. Oh no, that's 145 pounds. This is lightweight. I don't know. Put him in a bag, shake him up, and put him out there. Somebody who's got good takedown defense, hopefully. Jackson says, would Latifi versus Uzdemir have made this a solid card? I'd give it a 6 out of 10. Okay, yeah, before we get out of here, what would you give this entire night of fights or day of fights a rating out of 10? Jackson says 6 out of 10. Priam says 7.5 out of 10. And Priam, I'm going to think about your Giagos question, and I'll tell you about it on Twitter on my way to my wife's parents' house. Right after this, I got to go to my in-laws' house, and it's a long drive, so I'll be thinking about it. And follow me on Twitter, send me a DM, and I'll tell you on my way there. Rob would give it a 5. Otto gives it a 7. Unemployed Mario Yamasaki, a 7. I'll give it, so I'm thinking 7 too, and I'll give it an extra 0.5 like Priam because my local kid, not kid, but I'll give it a 7.5 because a local Nebraska guy, Anthony Lionheart-Smith, got a finish in the main event against the perennial, like, number 2 to 4, you know, depending on who's in the division at the time, DC, Rumble, and whatever, light heavyweight in the world, and Aleksandar Gustafsson. I think that was fantastic, so I'll give it an extra 0.5. Jackson says 7 out of 10 if the co-main event stayed. Yeah, we do have to judge it on the curve, Otto. Yeah, there were none of this meant anything, but some of it was fun to watch, and it ended really well. So overall, turned out fine. I think it's pretty good stuff. I got to get out of here, guys. Got to head over to the in-laws. Thank you so much for being here. Please give the video a thumbs up. If you're here live, please consider giving it a thumbs up. There's going to be a ton of people later that come and give it thumbs down, and then the bosses are like, "Hey, Brian, why do you got so many thumbs down in your video there?" And I'm like, I don't have any idea. I just have no idea. So if you could help me out with that thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. Follow me on Facebook at Flying Brian Show, and I'll be here next week. I think we're going to be watching UFC 238, and I'll be doing a live play-by-play result stream. Forza Hudo versus Marlon Moraes, Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica Ai, and of course the people's main event, Tony El Kukui Ferguson versus Donald the Cowboy Cerrone. Doing a play-by-play and also a post-fight show, so I'll see you guys next week. Thanks a ton. Namaste.